For months the whispers drifted like petals on restless wind. Soft, teasing, impossible to grasp but too persistent to ignore. Fans sensed it first, the industry sensed it next, and now the entire nation is trembling under the weight of one explosive revelation. The mysterious, magnetic, impossible to explain bond between Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan. A bond so powerful that no rumor can silence it, no denial can erase it, and no moment between them ever passes unnoticed. The night everything shifted felt ordinary at first, another exclusive industry gala tucked behind chandeliers, wine glasses, and velvet drapes. But from the moment Wang Yibo walked in, something was unsteady beneath the surface. His eyes scanned the room with quiet restlessness, like someone searching for a heartbeat they knew better than their own. And then Xiao Zhan arrived, graceful, glowing, carrying that soft charm that makes crowds hush just to watch him breathe. The moment their eyes met across the room, every whisper stopped. The air tightened. Even the music seemed to fade, as though giving them space to exist in a world where only two people mattered. Yibo's stiff composure cracked, replaced with a warmth so gentle it almost felt forbidden. Xiao Zhan's smile deepened, private, knowing, the kind of smile that says, "I see you. I always have." They didn't rush toward each other. They simply drifted, as naturally as sunrise meeting the sea, until the distance dissolved and only the two of them remained in a bubble of unspoken electricity. Their first moment alone happened later on the terrace, beneath midnight lights draped in jasmine scent. Xiao Zhan stepped out, the wind tugging at his coat. Before he could steady it, a familiar hand reached out, sure, calm, like muscle memory. Wang Yibo stood behind him, the moon drawing silver along his jaw. "Wind strong tonight," Yibo said, voice low enough to melt shadows. "Or you always appear at the right time," Xiao Zhan murmured, and the laugh that followed was soft enough to start a wildfire. A staff member claimed she walked in on Yibo removing a jasmine petal from Xiao Zhan's shoulder with almost reverent care. Another claimed she heard Yibo whisper, "I said I'd look out for you." And Xiao Zhan's reply, gentle, sincere, echoed through every rumor channel online. "You always do." From that moment, fans were unstoppable. They dissected glances, compared hand gestures, analyzed every subtle shift in tone. But the real chaos didn't begin until the airport incident cracked the internet in half. It was nearly midnight when Xiao Zhan arrived from an international flight, tired, surrounded by fans, moving through bright airport lights that made everything feel unreal. When a sudden push from the crowd made him stumble, a hooded figure appeared out of nowhere, catching him firmly by the arm. Wang Yibo. Not scheduled to fly. Not expected to be there. Yet absolutely, undeniably there. He steadied Xiao Zhan, leaned close, whispered something only he could hear. Xiao Zhan's shoulders relaxed instantly, the tension dissolving like ice against flame. Fans watched. Fans recorded. Fans lost their minds. In less than a day, the clip hit hundreds of millions of views and birthed the biggest hashtag storm of the year. But the universe wasn't done. Just days later, a quiet cafe on a dim street witnessed what many now refer to as the moment that confirmed everything. Xiao Zhan sat near the window, stirring his drink, eyes soft but distant. Yibo arrived moments later and took the seat across from him with the ease of someone who belonged there. Their conversation was low, but witnesses insist it didn't sound like colleagues catching up. It sounded like two souls who understood each other beyond words. The moment Yibo pushed a hand warmer across the table, saying, "You always forget these," the entire internet collapsed in emotional agony. Xiao Zhan's laugh in response, unfiltered, bright, unguarded, was enough to send fans spiraling for weeks. "Only because someone always replaces them," he replied, and even the cafe lights felt like they blushed. Then came the photos. Clear, high quality, impossible to misinterpret. The pair walking together, shoulders brushing, moving in perfect rhythm. Not posing. Not pretending. Just existing in a quiet reality that felt too real, too warm, too intimate. One shot showed Yibo adjusting the hood of Xiao Zhan's sweatshirt, fingers brushing lightly against his hair. Another captured Xiao Zhan looking at Yibo with an expression so soft it made millions feel like intruders. The internet screamed. The world froze. The rumors burned brighter than ever. Insiders began whispering about a late-night meeting the two attended in the same building. One source swore she overheard a small exchange between them in the hallway. Xiao Zhan's voice. People are talking again. Yibo's answer. Let them talk. We know the truth. And when Xiao Zhan asked whether he wasn't worried, Yibo's response sent the entire fandom straight into emotional hysteria. I only worry when you're not beside me. Whether real or exaggerated, that line stamped itself across the internet like a confession carved in fire. Their chemistry refused to hide. During a rehearsal days later, dancers noticed how effortlessly they gravitated toward each other, how their movements fell into sync without effort, without cues. During breaks, Xiao Zhan handed Yibo water, tapping the cap lightly, an intimate gesture, gentle, familiar. Yibo smiled, the kind of rare smile reserved for someone whose presence feels like home. But the most cinematic moment, the one fans replayed until their devices overheated, came on the night of the heavy rain. Xiao Zhan left a studio, umbrella tilted against the storm. Rain poured like the sky had split open. And then, silently, another umbrella slipped into place beside his, held by Wang Yibo, who stepped close enough that their shoulders touched beneath the tiny shelter of shared space. No disguise. No distance. No fear. They walked together under the dim glow of streetlights, two silhouettes merging into one as the rain softened around them. The moment looked like it belonged in a drama the universe scripted just for them. Their bond, whether friendship, fate, or something deeper, has become the nation's favorite mystery, its softest obsession, its most emotional rumor. It is the kind of connection that cannot be hidden, no matter how many times cameras turn away. It is the kind of warmth that slips through every rumor control, every wall, every attempt at silence. No confirmations. No denials. Just moments, powerful, tender, real. And sometimes moments tell the truth louder than words ever could. Whatever name the world gives their connection, one thing stands undeniable. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan have captured hearts, ignited imaginations, and woven a story that refuses to fade. A story written in glances, gestures, quiet laughter, shared umbrellas, and unspoken understanding. A story the nation isn't ready to close. And maybe, just maybe, their story has only begun to unfold. The rumors didn't slow after the rainstorm night, they only sharpened, tightened, wrapped themselves around the nation like a glittering net. What people thought was the climax turned out to be the beginning, because the days that followed revealed moments so startling, so intimate, so breathtakingly synchronized that fans began to whisper something even wilder. Perhaps this wasn't coincidence anymore. Perhaps it was destiny pushing them into the open. It began with the rehearsal room incident. The charity event was approaching, and dozens of performers filled the mirrored hall, adjusting costumes, running lines, humming melodies. Xiao Zhan arrived early, wearing simple clothes but carrying an aura that made even the fluorescent lights seem softer. He was practicing quietly in a corner, humming to himself, when the door clicked open and Wang Yibo walked in. Hair slightly messy, expression unreadable, but eyes sharp and searching. People noticed it instantly. The way his gaze found Xiao Zhan the moment he stepped inside, like he was checking whether the world was still in place. Xiao Zhan didn't turn. Didn't look. But something in him shifted too, the straightening of his shoulders, the subtle softening around his mouth, the tiny pause in his breath, as though he felt Yibo without needing to see him. They partnered for a segment that required simple interaction. Nothing romantic, nothing dramatic, just a smooth walk across the stage. Yet when they stood facing each other, waiting for the cue, the entire room fell into an electric hush. Their lines were short, but the silence around them carried more meaning than the script ever could. Yibo reached out first, adjusting Xiao Zhan's mace gently, his fingers grazing his collarbone. Xiao Zhan looked up, eyes warm, calm, trusting. "You're too meticulous," he whispered. "And you're too oblivious," Yibo murmured back. The room erupted with quiet gasps. Even the air became shy. But the moment that sent social media spiraling came when the lights malfunctioned. A sudden burst of sparks crackled overhead and the room plunged into semi-darkness. In that heartbeat of confusion, someone recorded a silhouette. Tall, fast, unmistakable, moving towards Xiao Zhan. Within seconds, Yibo's hand found his, firm and protective. pulling him slightly behind as the technicians rushed to fix the problem. The lights returned. Their hands remained linked for just a fraction too long. Enough to make the internet explode again. Rumors turned into theories, theories into certainty, at least in the hearts of fans who believed they were witnessing something deeper than friendship. But that wasn't the moment that shook the nation. The moment that truly splintered the internet happened days later at a museum. Both had been invited to a private preview of a brush painting exhibit. It was meant to be quiet, exclusive, low profile. But when they arrived, separately, of course, for professionalism's sake, fate had other plans. A rare, centuries-old scroll hung along a dim corridor, its strokes gentle and melancholic. Xiao Zhan stood studying it, lost in the delicate ink lines, when footsteps echoed behind him and he sensed, without looking, who they belonged to. "You like this one?" Yibo asked softly. "It feels peaceful," Xiao Zhan replied. There was a long pause. Gentle, deep, full of unspoken things. "Peaceful suits you," Yibo said. "Not always," Xiao Zhan whispered. "But around you, maybe." Rumor or imagination, the words carried across the room on the breath of a stunned security guard who later admitted he had nearly dropped his flashlight. The two continued through the hall side by side, not touching, not talking much, but close enough that their shadows overlapped in the dim light. One photograph leaked, just one, but it was enough to ignite the world. It showed Xiao Zhan pointing at a painting, explaining something passionately, while Yibo watched him with an expression that could only be described as captivated. Eyes soft, lips slightly curved, posture relaxed in a way he never was around anyone else. Comments flooded the internet. "They look like a scene from a romantic film." Yibo stares at him like he's studying art too. "There's no way this is just coincidence anymore." But the scene that broke every remaining doubt happened after the exhibit, behind the museum, where the back garden was soaked in twilight. Xiao Zhan stepped outside for air, unaware that someone was watching him from the doorway. When Yibo joined him, they stood beneath a tree heavy with lanterns, the world dipped in gold. "You've been quiet," Yibo said. "So have you," Xiao Zhan replied. Another pause. Too natural, too intimate. "Is it the rumors?" Yibo asked. Xiao Zhan didn't look away. "It's everything." "And yet," Yibo said softly, stepping closer, "you're still here." "And you still follow," Xiao Zhan murmured. Silence again. Not empty, full. Someone from the staff, passing by with equipment, accidentally caught a glimpse of them. Two silhouettes facing each other under warm lights, a gentle closeness in the air, something fragile and tender suspended between them. He didn't hear words. He didn't need to. The scene alone told a story stronger than any headline. By the time they returned to their cars, the internet had already begun spinning theories about secret meetings, coded gestures, hidden messages. Reporters reached, fans dissected, the nation speculated. But the truth lived quietly in the small moments, the shared glances, the synchronized steps, the gentle way they held space for each other. The rumors had not faded. They had intensified. They had evolved. And for millions watching, one thing was clear. Whatever bound Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan together was not an ordinary connection. It was a gravity, unseen, undeniable, and growing stronger every day.